very rigid. Actually, it's not other countries. You may look at it this way. If you go to, for example, don't quote me on this, but for example, if you go to a British school that is run British system, in my opinion, they're very rigid. They're very stiff. But people don't say that. They think it's good education. Do we make such judgments sometimes? Yes. Sometimes we do. Yes. You go to a French school, they're very rigid. But people say, no, France, it's French system. But my friend, the kids are tortured. Actually, a sister of mine, she had 2 kids. They're very young. They're in 2 different schools because one of the schools where she kept the other one is very rigid. They're rigid. They're actually, they will destroy the psychology of the boy. Because actually they are rigid. They're known for rigidness. But where is the social skills here? What the social skills are we talking about? So definitely we have some kind of idea of the skills we're looking at that are considered positive social skills. And I think, in my humble opinion, that normal public school systems, especially in Southeast Asia, they provide you the balance of the skills that you socially can adopt and socially can acquire and can live with, that the society find them useful, as well as the knowledge. Unless, of course, you have more of evidence to say, no, I'm wrong, which I accept it, I'm not from this region. But I can judge only from the way I move around at airports, at restaurants, at hotels, at taxis. People polite, people can talk, people can ask. Actually, another thing, like in Indonesia, you would be very surprised when you go where the audience are many school or university students. God, they torture you with questions. They ask so many questions at ease. They're very relaxed. They torture you with questions. They're very relaxed. Sometimes you feel, my God, you cannot be angry at them. Because they're very smiling, happy, and they ask you questions. Now, I see your point. I don't know if actually scientifically can someone assess social skills. Because I don't know if we can identify them precisely. Because some social skills here are accepted, some are not accepted. Even between the classes, some social skills are accepted and some are not accepted. According to sophistication of family lifestyle. So it could be accepted here, may not be accepted there. But you have a valid question. Maybe a sociologist, maybe I can talk to my colleague at the social sciences and ask him if really is this something he can think of. So we can have a different dimension in looking at this area. I'm you opened my brain to this. I can ask my colleague and see where are we in this issue. Yeah? Yeah, go ahead. It's fascinating when you talk about human nature, huh?
The reason I raised that question is this growing concern about schools being, not just in Philippines, but in general, the tendency to really focus on cognitive.
For what?
And to focus on the cognitive skills.
Yes.
I was wondering whether there was, and what is constantly measured gets valued. So the tendency is for testing and assessment to be narrowed down, and the curriculum to be narrowed down to the test. Because there's this constant pressure on the teachers to produce results, and in fact their performance is sometimes hinged on the the performance of their students in terms of the test scores.
Yeah.
So it's just the, especially when we're talking of the youth and these skills and entrepreneurial skills, they need to enhance those entrepreneurial skills.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if there is too much emphasis on the cognitive, and often it's reduced to rote learning, memorizing for the test, rather than really understanding the application of the formula that they memorize as part of it.
Yeah. I still have some time, Ramon, and I can say more.
Asik Mateo has sent word that he may be late, so we have time.
Okay. You know, I don't know, sometimes because of different ways of looking at things, you might also either have rigid point of views or you're very cautious and careful. I always say, who are the good doctors? Who are the good doctors? Really, who are the good doctors? The doctors who can diagnose you well, right? But those doctors who diagnose you well, if you look at their career, it's all cognitive. Because they have to memorize all the chemistry on earth, because our body is chemistry. So they have to memorize, just imagine chemistry, how much you're memorizing, you have to memorize. Now, who are the good lawyers? The good lawyers are actually a person who memorize a lot. Their English is good, I mean, their language is very strong, and then they have to memorize. So sometimes memorization is not problem. Now, when I was teaching, I always refer to research done by the World Bank. I used it because I taught economics of education, so lots of literature comes from there. And I came across route education, memorization. And I was like, what is this? Then one day, I saw this on TV, and they were bringing schools, and they were just citing how kids are memorizing and route education in Pakistan. And there I said, oh my God, that's what they talk about then. Okay, what they talk about actually is kids sitting on the floor and memorizing the Quran. And they go, maybe some of you have seen these pictures, they go like this. Now, this is not fair. To talk about route education, memorization, and you cite things like this in Pakistan. That's not fair. That's something for one purpose in some incident, but when you are giving your kids biology and chemistry, they have to understand it, but part of it, they have to memorize it. Because if they don't memorize the table of elements, or the theory of numbers, how can they do math? So let's sometimes not get too much carried out or carried away with this issue of routing versus understanding versus this. Because cognitively and learning is very sophisticated matter. You know, we don't know how we learn actually sometimes. You know, we read so many books, and I'm sure you and myself, if I ask, do you remember any of your high school books? You may not remember. But you look at your personality cumulatively, you're a product of that, of what you have taken, what you've done with it, what they've done with you when you were taking it. You're a product of that. Now, again, sometimes we put things, and I keep saying we have to be very specific and not very fluid. Now, definitely, soft skills are the responsibilities of the school system. Foundation skills are the responsibility of the school system. Transferable skills are the responsibility of the school system. But where would you draw the line